Teaching English Radio India,
a radio series for teachers of English.
brought to you by the British Council. Hello and welcome. I'm Bibash Dash, and our subject today is using the coursebook creatively. To discuss this topic, we'll be hearing from many Indian teachers. And here are just some of those who are joining us today.
Hello, I'm Kuheli from West Bengal.
I'm Rajashri from Thana in Maharashtra.
I'm Chetna from Delhi.
I am Ashok, Navi Mumbai in Thane district.
I'm Sandhya from Thane in Maharashtra.
We'll meet those teachers in a moment. Now, if I ask you, what does the textbook or the coursebook mean to you as a teacher, how would you respond? Do you recognize any of these comments?
Textbook is a soul of our teaching learning process because through that textbook we come to know what exactly we have to teach.
Textbooks do give us a proper guideline, but they must not keep their work restricted to the textbook itself.
Following a textbook blindly, at least I wouldn't recommend it. You need to supplement it with other activities.
If you're teaching in a school with few resources, the textbook may be your only teaching aid. We are looking at how teachers can make the most of this situation, using the textbook, but being creative at the same time. So let's start with teachers Rajashri and Sandhya, who are enthusiastic about the textbook they have been given.
I always use a textbook because I like it, which is so useful. This textbook is a main teaching aid, which is so supportive for us and for students also. We have so useful textbook which is provided by government. Skills are developing by grammatical way or by step. So we have so many exercises in there. We have pictures, many activities also we can enjoy. Many games is there also.
Dina, who helps to train teachers, agrees that the coursebook is important for teachers, but she suggests that we need to adapt to suit our learners.
A textbook is something that is provided for the teachers to use as a tool in order to achieve something by the end of the lesson, maybe the end of a semester or a term or the end of the year.
The keyword she uses is tool, something very useful for the teacher and the students to help with the learning, particularly as it gives a framework. But how should we use it?
Following a textbook blindly, at least I wouldn't recommend it. I think that you need to supplement it with other activities, bring in extra resources that you can use to make the lesson more interesting. We need to know whether what we're teaching actually is relevant to the group that we're teaching, whether it actually meets their requirements, and adapt or change what you're teaching in such a way that it will benefit all the learners.
Having a book open too much of the time can be boring. We need to introduce variety into our lessons and make sure there is plenty of communicative practice too. Language is for communication, so communication needs to be at the center of learning. Make sure your students get a chance to speak as well as read and do the exercises. So it is not very stimulating to start your lesson like this.
Turn to page 26.
It's a good idea before teachers open a book or refer to an exercise to get your students warmed up. Think of ways they can use English naturally right from the start of the lesson. Get them talking about their real lives. Try to make what you are teaching relevant to their environment.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Can we start the class now?
Yes, ma'am.
So, anyone is there who will like to share with me about their activities on the weekend? Yes.
I watched TV so much and played Ludo.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to community. I'm informed to come people.
Teachers say that when you plan your lessons, consider what you are going to cover and where you need to refer to the textbook. This means being organized in advance. You will need to read ahead and really understand the unit. Look at it carefully. What is being presented? What are the aims of the lesson? And what do your students need to do before they deal with the next text or exercise? How can this be followed up? What will make it interesting and meaningful for your students? Let's hear from a student.
As a student, I want to make my lecture interesting. So I don't want the teacher to go through the books only. She have to first make it clear what the story is. And after that, all the explanation, give better examples and daily experience which I have. So it will be fun too.
That student says she doesn't only want the teacher to go through books, she wants examples from daily experience. Now, teacher Ashok knows how to do this. He uses audio and newspapers as additional teaching tools. His students speak Marathi, so he finds ways to compare what is reported in the Marathi papers with English papers.
Teachers can give their experience to the students by reading the English newspaper in front of them daily. They can use the English paper also. The students can listen the news and they can compare the English news with Marathi papers also.
Ashok also keeps an eye on the calendar for events that involve speeches in English, and he gets students to listen and talk about them.
When the Independence Day or the Republic Day, people are giving the speech in English. So at that time also, teachers encourage the students to come in front and speak English. So I think this is the best experience the students can have.
You are listening to Teaching English Radio, India, brought to you by the British Council.
We're discussing ways of using the coursebook creatively. But if we're going to add more activities and materials, it needs to be realistic for teachers who are busy. Teacher Kuheli trains other teachers who work in locations where resources are very limited. She recommends that teachers can create additional aids for teaching and learning. She calls this teaching learning material and says that teachers can make their own materials.
Teaching learning material is something that the teachers need every day. They need to use them in the class to concretize whatever they are saying sometimes for the students.
We asked Kuheli to give an example of materials that teachers can make.
Suppose I am teaching like some verbs like smiling, crying, running, and I need some pictures to go with those expressions. And I tell my teachers they can cut pictures from magazines, from newspaper, which they can use as resource in the classroom.
She brings in pictures from magazines to show different expressions or actions to help present and teach verbs. And here is another example.
Suppose I'm teaching how to greet each other and I get a picture in the newspaper or a magazine, someone is shaking hands with another. It is quite familiar, which we always get somewhere. So I tell my teachers or I do it myself.
Kuheli talks about using pictures from magazines which can really bring things to life and make them memorable. The pictures can also be used to set up a dialogue or role play. Students can play the roles of the people in the photos. Her example was showing a picture of people shaking hands to teach introductions and greetings. You can simply hold up the picture as a prompt for your students, or make them into posters or flashcards, which can be used again with other classes. But of course, sometimes a quick drawing will be enough. You don't need to be an artist to do some stick figures.
If the teacher can draw a little bit, then it is even better. She can draw the matchstick figures that can be drawn on simple white papers and pasted on a cardboard that can be used several times by the teacher. So that is not very costly.
And this is an important point. If you are going to make materials that can be used again, then share them with other teachers and find a place to keep them safe. What else can teachers do to help bring their textbooks to life for their students? This depends a lot on their age group and the interests of your class. We need to capture their imagination, say teachers, so that they understand the topic and begin to care about it. For example, in Ashok's course book, there is a section about a railway, and he has found a way to introduce it to make it fun and real for his young students.
We try to know their previous knowledge regarding that particular topic. So first we ask them, have you seen railway? How it sounds? How many of you traveled in the railway? So some of them raise their hands and tell them, sir, I have seen the railway. I have traveled in that. I know the sound, how it whistles. And then we ask them, do you like railway? Do you want to travel with me today? Okay, come on, let's go with the railway. I would be the engine, chuk, 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 and then we introduce the lessons. We make some idea before touching to the lesson. So it helps them to learn and enjoy, because we are telling deliberately that enjoy the syllabus, enjoy. That's why we follow these things.
Ashok talking about ways to include activities alongside the course book. This makes the lessons really active, fun, and therefore memorable for younger students. There are subjects in the textbook that can lead to a bit of interesting research, and these give teachers ideas for projects, particularly with older or more advanced students. They can be asked to find out information and bring it back to class. Chetna describes some examples which she has used as follow-up homework.
Social messages which could be related to water, saving water, electricity, environment, HIV and AIDS and other things which we need to make the students aware. Last month I had to actually teach students all about Indian culture and how a foreign tourist should be told what to do and what not to do in India. I asked them to write out and prepare posters. Some of them had to write on do's, the others had to write on don'ts. And then they had to make presentations.
Life beyond the textbook. The themes and ideas in the book can lead to a display of posters on the classroom walls with students' own research and drawings. Have you tried this? It's time to summarize some of the ideas of teachers in this program on using the coursebook creatively. What did we hear about? Well, the coursebook is a useful tool, but plan your lessons to suit your students' level and interests. Include opportunities for speaking and listening and being active. Think of ways to bring the outside world into your classroom. You can use pictures from magazines or simple drawings to get your students practicing. You can use these to make posters and flashcards, which you can use again with other classes and even share with your colleagues. You don't have to start classes with the coursebook open. Plan your lesson so that the book can be used to consolidate what they have been practicing. Thanks to all the teachers who shared their ideas today. I am sure that you have many more. For now, this is Bibhash Dash signing off. And join us again next time for another edition of Teaching English Radio.